Are you ready to be the best that you can be? Join hybrid business coach and consultant Charity Brown and her guest as they give you behind-the-scenes access to the insider tips and tricks that will help you take your business to the next level. Charity has an extraordinary approach to boosting businesses to break out of their modes, influence their industries, and become leaders of their packs. And she's ready to pass this inspiring knowledge on to you today. Learn how to change your game and build your business into what you've always dreamed of, right here on the Create Clarity with Charity podcast.
Hello and welcome to Create Clarity with Charity. Today I have an amazing guest. She's transforming lives and mindsets all over the world. Miss Michele Ariana. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. I am so excited to have you here. Ever since I met you in Scottsdale, you're just a shining light and empowering others and to take their life back and live on their terms, right?
Yes. Thank you.
It's so amazing to have such a transformational coach here with us. You've practiced, NLP and really helped dialing into, the human design and their core values and helping people come back to their most truest, authentic self. So thank you for sharing all this amazing info that we're about to get into. It's really a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks so much, Charity.
Yeah. So building your legacy, right? It wasn't easy. And being a coach isn't the easiest profession. A lot of people, probably I would say maybe 95% make it a year or two. And you've been doing this for many, many years.
Yeah.
And helped a lot of people shift out of, low vibe. So let's talk about how that all came to be, because sometimes they're born healers, sometimes there's born entrepreneurs, right? But not a lot of times you come out as a kid, I'm going to be a coach, right?
Yeah. No, this was not in the cards, so I thought.
Yeah. So being able to take your life, from we had chatted before, and we have a lot of things in common when it comes to, self-doubt, negative self-talk, all that stuff as a young adult stemmed from early childhood bullying, right? Kind of helped you help other people out of that same stuck state, let's say.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those earlier years. You weren't really a born entrepreneur and just came up with these great concepts. You actually had to go through the valley highs, the valley lows, and the mountain highs to experience what it feels like to be hopeless or fearful, right? So I know these are like some things people feel like they can relate to you better now if we talk about some of those journeys that you had that helped you kind of establish the framework of your coaching programs. So let's talk about that, those younger years when you were, you've always been very ambitious, right? Like you have lots of degrees, you have so many accomplishments, but let's talk about, the sole purpose and when you were like, you feeling the level of, self-preservation, but not being your best advocate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's so funny. It started when I was younger. Like most of us children, we're just in that innocent, play in the dirt, just like to get into life. And it was about sixth grade or so that I would say probably a little before then, I started feeling like not good enough, comparing ourselves, and maybe just society or children or life, shapes that. But when I was young, I was made fun of for my looks, and that external bullying turned into internal bullying, and I became my own worst critic. And so what I didn't realize back then is I always excelled at like sports and academia, but I really wanted to be a dancer and a cheerleader. Like I didn't even, at that point, I wouldn't even say I had the calling to be an entrepreneur just yet. I used to play, my grandfather would give me his paperwork from his office and I would play business, but that was about the extent of it. But I really had a calling to want to dance and cheer. And like all my other girlfriends were so beautiful. And I kind of felt like the ugly duckling and I looked different. Right. And when the bullying started or being made fun of, I started going home and picking myself apart. And so, like I said, the external bullying turned into internal bullying. I became my own worst critic. And so I just channeled all that energy into high achievement, to realizing now it was to try to be good enough. And sure, did I do things that lit me up? Yeah, of course. Like, you and I are high achievers, we're generators. We just love doing the damn thing. But I realized back then, unconsciously, I was striving to, I don't know if it was find purpose or just be good enough and be loved, feel like I was lovable. And so I didn't even go after the dream of cheerleading or dancing, because I just didn't, my self-image was so low and my self-concept didn't even have that concept in my mind. And so I didn't. So I went through sports and academia and I excelled until my 20s, where I was so in overdrive that I drove myself sick into the hospital and into doctors' offices, and always looking for, like, what's wrong with me. I was so scared, Charity, of dying. Like, I was so scared.
Oh, wow.
But I was so scared of living too. It was the craziest place to be, to feel like disconnected from self. And it wasn't until like maybe my mid-20s where I got into corporate America. I was still battling with anxiety. I mean, I did for like 8 years or so, overachiever in college. In my mid-20s, a girlfriend of mine had just made the Jacksonville Jaguars cheer squad. I lived in Jacksonville at the time, professional NFL team. So she came into my office in corporate America. I was a marketing director at the time. And she was like, Michele, I think you should audition for the team. And I was like, what? That back then I was a tomboy. I didn't look like a cheerleader. I didn't act like one. Like, if you saw my before and after pictures, it's incredible. Of like, you wouldn't even hardly recognize me. But what happened, which was very pronounced at that time, what happened then is she planted a seed of possibility, of belief, of like a spark of a dream that could and would eventually grow into, something even bigger. But at first I didn't believe her, because I didn't have that belief in myself. But I was like, you know what? I'm getting my MBA at the time. When I'm ready, if I even have the confidence to do this, I'll come find you, because that dream was so out of my realm of possibility. But a few years later, I graduated with my MBA, and at the time I still was in that overdrive. I graduated with my MBA. I didn't even walk. I was in such high achievement. I didn't get my degree. I didn't walk. I was like, what's next? And then I got sick. I had insomnia. I was in the hospital, and I finally decided something has to change. Like, right around that time, my dad had given me the movie The Secret. So there was a new belief system starting to rise up. But when I was that sick, that disconnected from life, that fearful of, like I said, fearful of dying, yet fearful of living, I was like, the next thing I choose to do, it's going to be for fun.
Yay, fun. What's joy and fun? Yes. And that's when when you were at because that's like, a valley low. You're in the hospital, you're sick, you're not thriving, you're not living your life and with joy and happiness, right? You're scared to live. And was it watching that movie, The Secret, that literally flipped a switch mentally that made you start visualizing yourself as in a completely different life for yourself?
I had watched it a few months before I had gotten that sick. I think my low, when you hit rock bottom, there's only up to go. And I think in that moment, I didn't sleep for 2 months. For anyone who might be experiencing insomnia, my heart goes out to you. It is not fun. I think somewhere in there, maybe because I had watched the movie a few months ago, like my soul or my spirit, the divine, like something took over where I'm like, I am deciding right now that, like, I knew that what got me there was, because I'd watched The Secret, I understood manifesting. And I was like, well, if they're saying like whatever you focus on expands, you create, and they're talking about positive things, I know that works because I had done it to the inverse. I had been focusing, I didn't know it, but shaping, programming, not feeling good enough and worthy. I was focusing on things of like negative things about myself. And I was stuck in a loop, right? I knew it worked. So I think when I made the decision coming out of the hospital that last time, I was like, I'm going to do something fun, and I'm going to I'm going to use what I learned from The Secret to start to shift my mindset, because something has to change, and it's not going to come from outside me.
And
So I think it was like that.
Yes.
It was
Okay.
that
So it was
decision, the
coming
power of a
out of
decision.
the power
Yeah.
of the decision. So you win when
Yeah.
you decide, because you're telling your subconscious and the universe, I've decided now, right? That's number one. And then you created a vision, right? You were talking about the
Yes.
power of dream boards that we have in common. I always have my new dream board. I make them quarterly or whatever. Like, I need a dream board right now, right? Or an
I just
intention
made
board.
a new one.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love it. I just like making them. It's so fun for me. And then I look at it and it feels brings me joy and happiness. I'm like, oh, this is my intention board for joy and happiness. This is my intention board for business and wealth and success. And this is my dream board if everything in life was perfect. This is how I'd love to
Yeah.
live. Right. And
Well,
did
the
that just
power
have
of it.
yes. So the
Go
vision of
ahead.
that, did you really actually make one back then?
I did, and I'll send it to you. I had 3
Oh,
pictures on it. So once I made the decision, and PS, I love that you do vision boards, and the power, the brain is malleable. Neuroplasticity is real. Whatever we put our focus attention on expands. The brain doesn't know the difference between what you observe externally and what you imagine or are focusing on. So if you're looking at a vision board and you're telling yourself, your thought, word, and habits are starting to mold around. That's why I love that you create vision boards, and maybe your clients and your audience watching, hopefully they do. If not, the recommendation is do it.
yeah.
If you want next level, do a mind movie. I could talk about that later. I just
Oh,
made
Joe
made
Dispenza. I love
that
Dr.
stuff
Joe.
rapid.
My
Woo, we got to
goodness.
do another. We're gonna have to do a follow up.
Yes, we
But the
are. We'll have to
power
have
of
session 2. Okay, episode 2, the evolution, right?
totally right. But the power of the vision board, because I learned a vision board from The Secret, I was like, all right, I'm going to do something fun. I'm going to dance. And you know what? Because I'm ambitious, I'm going to put a goal around it. But this goal, I'm going to allow myself to have fun. I'm going to enjoy the journey. I think I had seen a quote somewhere around that time that said, something about, it's not about the destination, it's like it's the journey, or the journey is the juice, or something like that. And so I was like, for once in my life, I'm just going to give myself permission to have fun. And you know what? Dance, that's fun. And you know what? Becoming an NFL cheerleader, that is so outside of my brain cells. Like I couldn't even imagine. But because I couldn't imagine it, I had to create a vision board. So I made 3 photos. I photoshopped my face, and I'll send you this if you want to include it in the video.
Yeah.
I photoshopped my face on 3 other cheerleaders' bodies who were already NFL cheerleaders to the
Oh,
death.
wow.
Girl, do not laugh. Like if you show this on the video, like you could laugh, but don't laugh. But it's like,
Okay.
it was the only thing I could do to train my mind to believe that that's even possible. Because the excitement of it,
that was such a challenge, right? Because it was so far-fetched. It was just like,
it wasn't my identity. And this is why I teach people when I coach with clients, I help them rewrite their story, but shift their fundamental identity, their self-concept. Because when you do, you're naturally going to think thoughts, feel feelings, and engage in habits that match your new self-concept. So often people try to change their habits. And don't get me wrong, all thoughts, words, and habits, changing any of them at any stage is great. But it's almost like that fly beating its head against the window pane. It's like you're doing the same thing over and over again. You're trying to change things in the 3D reality, in our physical reality, versus when the window is open right next to it, the fly could fly out easily. The flying out is shift your self-concept. Because when Dr. Joe says this, your personality creates your personal reality. If you want your personal reality to shift your personality, i.e. your self-concept, i.e. your self-identity. So what I did was looked at those 3 photos every day. And then because that gave me a image that your thoughts produce a feeling, a chemical reaction, which is what we call an emotion. So I started imagining, what could that look like to be an NFL cheerleader in those outfits, to perform in front of 70,000 people, which I'd never performed before. So that then started me taking actions. I hired coaches. I started taking dance classes, and I scheduled on the calendar. All right, I'm going to audition for the NFL in 3 months. I'm going to give myself 3 months.
and you
get it on,
you weren't
plan
even
it.
in college.
College. I was out of college. No, I didn't dance in college. So I was in corporate.
Wow.
Nothing. I danced
That's
when I was
so
4 years old.
awesome. I didn't know you
I
could get
tapped.
into cheerleading, professional cheerleading without having a background in cheer. That's so cool
You
that
know,
you
you're
shifted
right.
into
When
that. That's like a miracle. I mean, you already like, because my daughter was a cheerleader until she was always a varsity cheerleader, and that was like her dream. I
Um,
mean, everybody on the team's dream was NFL cheerleader, right? That's like the
yeah,
ultimate goal for a cheerleader. But then to do that
yeah.
later in life, after you already have your degree, after you already been working in corporate, and then you just do it off of vision, and then
Zero experience.
uh, that's
Zero.
that's super powerful stuff. So that's amazing. So you did it, right? You achieved again the
3 years.
impossible.
It took 3 years to get there. Yep, I did. But it took persistence. And what I learned, again, I did everything different. The old ambitious overdrive, toxic ambitiousness would be like competition, got to be the best. Because The Secret was a great foundation around, as I started auditioning, like I said, it took me 3 years. So I auditioned 3 months later, didn't make it, but I auditioned for a semi-pro team. So I started to get dance experience. So I started to whittle myself into this self-image, mold the clay of what would a professional dancer be like. I got leadership experience. I auditioned the next year, made it to finals out of 400 women. I got down to the top 50, got cut. It takes a lot of fortitude to get back up when you're down. When you make it that far after 2 weeks of intense, rigorous training and dancing and hopes and all the things, and then get cut. It's like I cried for 24 hours.
That's
I was in
ultimate
bed.
failure. That's what we all avoid, right? That's why we don't do that, because that heavy feeling of that possibly happening will stop people from ever experiencing that, going after that dream, right? Because so how did you get back up from that?
I cried for 24 hours in bed. I got out of bed. I auditions for that semi-pro team that I had cheered the previous year was in 2 weeks. I'm like, I'm gonna audition again for the semi-pro team. This time I made co-captain. So I made the team and I made co-captain. So now I have leadership. I'm performing in front of about 1,000, 1,500 people. I'm evolving. And I said that year, I'm like, I already knew when I first started the journey, I'm like, I'm going to give myself 3 years to do this, which is interesting. A lot of times in manifesting, they say, don't give a timeline. It could go either way. It really could go either way.
Mhm.
I didn't have an attachment. Let's put it that way. I was like, I'm going to give myself 3 years. I'm not going to have an attachment. So by year 2, when I didn't make it, that third year, I'm like, well, I made the semi-pro team. And I was like, I'm giving myself this last year. But in my mind, I've already become a cheerleader. And I decided that every time I stepped out onto the field I was cheering for a rugby team. Every time I stepped out, I was going to give it my all, and I was going to show up as if I was already an NFL cheerleader. And
Wow.
so we call this so Neville Goddard talks about this. I teach this. It's called the power of assumption, or the law of assumption. And you probably have heard this, right? Do you ever activate the law of, there's a law of attraction, that which you think about, comes back in
Is.
form.
Yeah.
The law of assumption is assuming the wish fulfilled, assuming the desire is done. So if you're, and that's what I did. I didn't know that. Again, all that I teach and I coach my clients on now is all these practices that took me years to figure out, to like get to the pros, to manifest divine partnership, to heal through grief and death when that came about, to start a life over again. I mean, these are all different things that came out later on, but these principles are the same. It's understanding, number one, you are a powerful creator. You're not in the universe. The universe is in you, and all of life chose you to channel through, and you can use your great I am power to create. And that comes with then the law of assumption, assuming whatever it is. But they say this, I'm not religious, but more spiritual. I think it's Mark 11:24 that says, whatever you pray for, whatever ye ask for in prayer, believe that
And
it
you
is
shall
so, and you
receive.
shall receive it.
Yes.
So they're saying it scripturally. The sages across centuries are teaching it. Metaphysics is teaching it. A law of assumption. Believe that it's done. And so that's what I finally did on that third year. I was like, I planned my wedding as if I was going to make the NFL that next year. I planned my whole life. Like, I was like, game on.
Yes, that's awesome. You did. Yes. So your subconscious, you were already it. And you were living in joy now at this point. You weren't in the low vibration of, where you kind of were stuck for many years, and you
Not
got
loving
out of
self was the low vibration.
without loving self. Now you're having more joy and fun and loving self more. You're manifesting great relationships, right? You're getting certified in different coaching systems like NLP. You're acquiring your clients by this time too, right?
That when I made the NFL, I realized that was around the time that it was within 2 months. I said, if I could hit this dream, I could do anything, and I can help others do the same. And so I left my corporate job. I retired from corporate America and decided that I wanted to help others.
Nice. And help shift their
Yeah.
mindset and their
And
self-belief and
help. Yeah,
self-worth.
exactly. Exactly. And help people manifest a life and love life that they desire, that they're wildly obsessed with, because it is possible. And half the time we don't even allow ourselves to believe it's possible. So when we can work on these certain things, mindset, manifesting, embodiment, self-image, self-concept, energy, like everything in your life changes. So
I love that. Yeah. And, a lot of times we believe our own BS, right? Our belief systems are what keep us stuck. And having a coach like you, somebody that can help reframe the BS and give
yeah,
us a way more clear, purposeful way of thinking about ourselves with intention. Because I think a lot of people don't know that they have that much power, that they can uh, design their life, right? So let's look at your beautiful site here, audience. It's MicheleAriana.com, and that's Michele, Ariana.com, where she
and
has
Michele with
her,
one L.
oh, and Michele
We
with
always have
one
to say
L.
that.
Oh, yes, I just noticed that. So yeah, MicheleAriana.com. You can also visit her Instagram, but she has a amazing programs on here, testimonials, and a bunch of freebies for the audience as well. But let's talk more about, that shift that gave you that inevitable power and certainty that you could take your experiences and your shift and help transform other people. Was that, I think you were saying something about you had
I was on
another
a
kind
cruise.
of valley low moment, divorce possibly, and like your dad passed away all within 1 month or something, and then you went on a
That was
cruise, or
later.
oh, that
So
was
that
later.
was
Okay.
later in life. Yeah. So right when I had made the NFL, a month before that, I had went on a cruise. 2 months before
Okay.
that, I went on a cruise, and that introduced me to life coaching. So it was all within the same year that I started understanding and learning about mindset, learning how we are deliberate creators. I met a life coach, and was feeling a lot of anxiety around that time with my corporate job. I wasn't feeling like I was living on purpose. Loved what I did, loved the people I worked with, but I felt like back then I was clawing my way up the corporate ladder, trying to like just figure out how to make more money. And again, money's a beautiful medium of exchange and circulation, and it's all energy. And it's taken me years to learn that too. But back then I didn't understand. And so my body and my experience was showing me I was meant for more. And so I was having a lot of panic attacks for a couple of weeks leading up to a cruise. I was going on my very first personal growth and development cruise. I had listened to a series called Your Wish Is Your Command. And so there was a whole community. And so I set the intention getting on that cruise. I'm like, I'm going to figure out what I want to do the rest of my life, because something is not connecting. And so I got on the cruise, and the next day I was watching my very first speaker, and they said something, and all of a sudden, I'd never had this before, but I had a vision drop in to my psyche, and I started crying immediately. So the vision, I saw myself on stage, and I wasn't a coach yet. I was still in corporate. I hadn't made the NFL yet. I was still 2 months out from that, but I had a vision of being in what looked like a football stadium or an arena. It wasn't cheering. I was on a stage speaking, helping to elevate consciousness, to raise the energy, help people manifest their dreams. And I immediately started crying. And then 2 hours later, I met 2 life coaches who became my best friends. And I learned about what life coaching was. I didn't know it. I didn't know who Tony Robbins was back then yet. And so after getting off that cruise, I quit my job 4 days later. I got into a coaching certification, and then I started this path.
I
And
love
then
it.
other things unfolded.
That's the
later.
true evolution of a coach. So, that's kind of a frenzy right now. It's like the cool thing to be, right? But there are the authentic, real ones that have done the transformations, that have been there, that have built on the greats like Tony Robbins, NLP, Dr. Joe, really have implemented the secret and seen the manifestations. And so that's why I love your page and your program, because it just resonates, so much with, the kind of training that I've had, and experiences of shifting my life, going from kind of that same depleted, kind of soul wrecked feeling of making myself whole again and believing in me and having a new identity of that I'm not this failure, or that I'm, have the ability to be whatever I want and to create that and believe it. So you have some free stuff on your site that kind of helps people steer them into that next best version of self, right? Because everyone has the inalienable right to reinvent themselves any day of the week.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I have 2 things for free. If someone's wanting to focus more on their love life, I have a free quiz plus guide. It's the love attraction quiz. I go through some of the limiting beliefs that can block us from love, calling love in. And then I have a guide around that. I have another freebie called the power visualization. It's just helping you step into your authentic self. It's a guided visualization that I did. It's maybe about 10, 15 minutes where you just have to put on the earbuds and just allow yourself to go through the visualization. Our imagination is incredibly powerful. And a lot of times, unfortunately, when we get distracted with social media or just the dramas that play out in life, we're not really paying attention to our internal monologue and movie. Our psyche can be influenced very easily. And so I created a power visualization to help people just connect back to their authentic self, really deepen into who they really are, and start to imagine like they can burn the rules, shed the past, and step into the new version of themselves.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Everyone, see out there, you have the ability to change your reality in an instant with a vision, right? That's the power of that storyboard or dream board or intention board, and closing your eyes and literally seeing you there triumphant on the top of that mountaintop, right? Like, I win, I win. If you continue telling yourself that and visioning it, you're going to be a winner, right?
They call it auto-suggestion. They wrote about it in Think and Grow Rich back in the day. Auto-suggestion. And as an NLP practitioner, we teach you how to rewire your brain circuitry, the computer of your mind. And you can do it by, like you said, just telling yourself. Just your words are so powerful. And then if you even want to get even more powerful with this, use I am a winner. Yes. I am whatever follows I am consistently gets created. It signals to the brain like what you are. And so use your words wisely and carefully.
And even say it in the mirror, looking at yourself.
Yes. Oh, so powerful.
Ooh, that's the shifter. You can look at yourself and believe it. You are. It's like I really started believing way more in myself and the stuff I was trying to reframe and reprogram my thoughts and, train them to be more kinder and more loving. It didn't really hit me until how awkward it felt when I was looking in the mirror saying it. I'm like, I'm not believing me. And then I'm like, I have to keep doing it every day. And I did. And then now I look in the mirror and I love who I see. And so it's all very possible to change.
That's so beautiful.
And that's what I hope everyone.
It is possible.
It is possible. And just like, having a great coach and mentor like you to help guide people through that process, because it is neurological. Those triggers, all those firing thoughts that go on in our brain are just our body telling us we're not in alignment, right? With maybe our true authentic position at that point in life. And we need to learn to not like scrutinize ourselves for thinking those things because it's human nature. Everyone's done it.
Yeah.
But to learn to use the tool to sharpen it, right? And like
Yeah.
use also that power of that negative thought, flip it to the other side of the power of that positive thought is
Yes.
remarkable
It
and
really
powerful.
is. And anyone, wherever they're at, wherever, you may be listening or watching this from, it may feel like your mind's thinking you, even as entrepreneurs, especially as entrepreneurs, when we have to navigate the highs and the lows and the failures and the successes and the good enoughs, the not good enough, like all the things. It's like change is possible. Change can actually happen in an instant. What takes a long time for change is deciding to change. And the
Yes.
breakthrough can happen very rapidly. In NLP, I teach a framework similar to Tony Robbins. In fact, a lot of what I learned, I was inspired by Tony to become an NLP master practitioner. But in order to have a breakthrough, requires three things: change your state, shift your story, and change your strategy or your habits. And so it's possible. We have a framework. I like saying I love the strategy and I love the soul. There's both spirituality and the system. So it's like, it's possible to navigate anything at any point in time. You can shift if you have a desire and you're willing to make a decision and then devote to it.
Yes. And that's something they don't teach us in school. And a lot of parents don't know that you need to teach your kids to, you know, decide for themselves and also envision who they really want to be. Sometimes like, oh, you know, have a dream when you grow up, right? We have like this kind of blurry idea of us being an adult. And so it's kind of wishy-washy, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
power of intention and clarity when you're not getting what you want in life and you're feeling like everything is just the opposite of what you really want, that is the time to go shut the door and to quiet the noise and get clear on just a vision. And it takes like your visualizing exercise, the one that's here free, that meditation,
Mm-hmm.
that guiding principle of really tapping into the clarity of that vision. It's that
Yeah.
simple. It could take 5 minutes and you do that and you continue thinking about that and believing in yourself. And Tony, you know, he is infamous for pumping you up, rah, 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 right? Like you believe that vision and then you get up and you start cheering and you're like, I win, I'm bomb. Hey, bring that energy in, right? And you just
Yes.
cultivate. And then that's when it becomes magnetic. Cause like you were saying with your cheerleading, you would look at that picture, you'd get all excited about it. You started dancing, you started believing and living as if you were that already.
Yeah.
So I think that is so powerful. And I hope the audience can see the value in such a simple tool that a lot of people take for granted and they just never use it, you know, because we're not trained to flex that muscle, that inner fitness muscle.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So everyone get with Michele for some inner fitness exercises to shift into greatness, right? And
Yeah.
love. We didn't even talk enough about love because we all need more love, I think. And you do have
Mm-hmm.
some amazing love programs to help people really find themselves and you know get back in that yummy love energy.
Yeah. Well, it's true. It's because what I've found through my peaks and valleys and dark nights of the soul is that every relationship starts with self. And so if we really want to just go straight to the root, to the source, is cultivate and create a powerful, loving, nurturing relationship with self. From there, you will always, we don't attract what we want. We attract who we are and what
Mhm.
we be. So when we go back to the simplicity of that, and we know that all power starts right in the now moment and with you. Pop the champagne. That's great news. It's never about, will the beloved show up? Will I find my purpose? Will I find the money or the house or the family that I want? Like it starts with you. Like, that's great news. And then it also starts with realizing, like, when we create such a solid relationship with self, like you have done, like I have done, and we continue to do, because it's, energy, where focus goes, energy flows. Like, if we withdraw our energy from it, it's like, it's when the weeds can take up. Right. So it's like making sure that we always connect back to self, and love self from that powerful place. Then we'll
And it's not
manifest
an
what we're
overnight.
vibrating.
Yeah. And it doesn't
No.
happen overnight. And so to be kind and loving to yourself, and I mean, that's the thing. It's a lifelong journey of self-love. It like just continues to amaze, right? And challenge. And that's life. So, but making that intentional switch to say, hey, I'm going to love myself. I'm going to do a lot of self-care. I'm going to be really good to me, and I'm going to put me first, and I'm my best cheerleader now. So now what?
Yes, 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 yes. And it's true. And when you know that that every relationship starts with self, and what I also teach, I have a program coming out called The One. Really, it's about helping to awaken your source of power, pleasure, prosperity, and partnership. When you know that you are the one, like you're the one that can decide that you are going to go do the damn thing and live what your heart is telling you, that you're worthy and deserving, you're also the one that can talk yourself out of it. You're the one that can say, oh no, it's not for me. Someone else is the one. But the fact is, at the end of the day, you're still the one. You're still the one life chose. And so this whole course is really about getting the foundational confidence of knowing where your source of power is, and then channeling that into that power, that like bringing that confidence, bringing that into pleasure, bringing it into prosperity, bringing it into your partnerships. Because when you know who you are, self-love, self-worth comes naturally. And not just know who you are as like you, Charity, or me, Michele. Like, it's like, know who you are as an extension of like the divine. We're part of Mother Nature, and that same source of energy that beats my heart beats your heart. It also moves celestial bodies and knows when the seasons change. It knows when to grow a flower and when to have the leaves shed. Like, when we know that that power is in us and we can direct it with our focus, our feeling, and our frequency, boom, like manifesting is like a whole new realm.
Yeah, it's magic.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. So yeah, everyone, keep that vision. Get with Michele. She's just a shining light, really, in a dark world. And to, going into this economy, and stepping into business these days is not easy, but if you step into it with some of these guiding principles that she practices and is certified in and has so much success with, it is definitely worth checking out her programs and her free offers and her Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
It's at Love Michele Ariana. So just, the at sign, whatever.
Oh,
Love
at love.
Michele Ariana. Yeah.
Yes,
So
love
it's
Michele.
Michele with one L and Ariana with one N. So Love Michele Ariana is it's Facebook and Instagram. And then on YouTube, I have a series of free YouTube videos for people to check out. That's just YouTube/Michele Ariana.
Awesome. And then they can book a discovery call or get one-on-one coaching,
Yeah.
or are you doing group coaching right now?
They can book a discovery call. I'm looking at doing a group around the program, The One. So yeah, I have different levels. We can do one-on-one. There's group potential coming down the line, and then I've got the digital courses too. So yeah, but
Awesome.
all kinds of fun goodies on YouTube, and just want to be able to serve at multiple levels. And then I do full-on NLP breakthrough immersions, which is a 1 day. It's a 3-month program. 1 day is the immersion. It's like the VIP day, and then 3 months of follow-up coaching. It's like 10 years of therapy. What I've been told, it's like 10 years of therapy in just 3 months, where we really go to the root of one area of your life that you're stuck in. Maybe it's your, love and relationships that's challenging. Maybe it's your business. Maybe it's fitness, like whatever it may be. But we take one area and we clean out the area. We clean out the sludge and dive into rewiring, and then embodying and creating new habits around your new self-image identity around that. And we use NLP. I use light hypnosis, mental emotional release technique, timeline therapy. There's some modalities that I'll use that are very, very impactful.
Is that in person?
It can be. If
Okay.
people have flown here to do it in person. we can do it in the comfort of your own home through Zoom.
Mm.
I have another, so that's a 3-month program. I have a 6-month program that's a version of that that's still super and equally effective, just different dynamic. We won't take the full day. We'll do it over 6 weeks where it's, you know, more digestible for people too. And that's, you know, different options. So happy to work with different ones.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here, folks, on Create Clarity with Charity. We have a amazing love and self love coach.
Yeah, so NLP coach and mindset mentor, focusing on self-love and
Yes,
confidence.
because we all need more love in our life. Yes.
Yay.
So I hope you guys reach out to Michele, and, you know, or at least download and take the quiz, because those are very clarifying. And I love that visualizing meditation. So I hope you guys all check her out, check out her socials and her website, and stay tuned to the next episode. Thanks again, Michele. It was amazing having you
Thank you.
here. Thank you.
Thank you, Charity. I appreciate you.
You too.